Oh, okay, everybody. Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Sorry for the mic issue. Okay, salam sekeluarga Malaysia, salam Sabah Maju Jaya, salam sepakat Sabah hebat, sepakat Bayu Sumoribau SPM hebat, SPB transform and for the best. Honorable Datuk Haji Raisin bin Saidin, Director of the Sabah State Education Department, Madam Haja Nuraini Fauzia binti Darin, Deputy Director Learning Sector Sabah State Education Department, Mr. Sulaiman bin Ahmad, Chief Assistant Director TVET Unit Learning Sector Sabah State Education Department, Madam Nurul Izzati Adlina Abdullah, Kudat District Education Officer. Our speaker for today's webinar, Mr. Ahmad Taufik bin Muhammad Tahir from Smka Tdml 51 Papar. Last but not least, educators, parents, and students who are watching with us online now. I'm Cikgu Is, SIC Plus Officer from PPD Papar as your moderator today. On behalf of the committee, I extend a warm welcome to each and every one of you who is joining us live today in Program BAYU Sumoribau SPM 2023. It is program initiated by Kudat District Education Office with the collaboration of Sabah State Education Department and its strategic partners. The strategic partners are Kudat Principals, PPD Beluran, PPD Kuala Penyu, PPD Tuaran, PPD Papar, PPD Telupid Tongot, PPD Ranau, GG Kota Kinabalu, Academic YouTuber Guru Malaysia, IU, and Melta. You are welcome to actively engage, exchange ideas, and ask questions through the chat box. However, kindly be reminded that we truly appreciate if you could take part with appropriate profile and also name. The webinar will last for 2 hours. Attendance link would be shared at the end of the webinar. The attendance link is for the purpose of e-certificates in SPL KPM and also as the feedback form. Before we start our sharing today, we would have the dua recital as to bless our event. For that, I would like to invite Ustaz Muhammad Hadi bin Samin, Assistant Officer, Islamic Education Unit, Learning Sector, Kudat District Education Office to lead the doa recital.
إلى حضرة النبي المصطفى رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم الفاتحة. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alamin. Wassalatu wassalamu ala Sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa ashabihi ajma'in. Ya Allah, ya Tuhan kami, pada hari yang penuh bermakna ini, kami berhimpun dengan penuh rasa kesyukuran di atas nikmat-Mu yang tidak terhingga. Ya Allah, Tuhan yang Maha Penyayang, kami memohon kepadamu, ya Allah, bersempena dengan program ini, Engkau permudahkan setiap urusan kami agar matlamat program ini tercapai dengan jayanya. Kurniakanlah kami keazaman yang kental untuk bekerja dengan penuh dedikasi dan keikhlasan. Kepadamu, ya Allah, kami memohon bimbingan dan restu-Mu. Kekalkanlah di dalam hati kami sifat mencintai kebaikan serta menjauhi keburukan. Ya Allah, ya Tuhan kami memohon dengan kekuasaan dan kehendak-Mu, Engkau anugerahkanlah kepada kami kesihatan dan kekuatan agar kami mampu mengorak langkah, berpadu tenaga menjayakan program ini. Engkau semaikan di dalam hati kami semangat persahabatan dan pemuafakatan agar dengannya pekerjaan kami menjadi mudah. Engkau suburkanlah semangat kerja berpasukan dalam kalangan kami agar amanah ini menjadi ringan serta terlaksana dengan cemerlang. Hindarkanlah kami daripada sifat-sifat keji dan daripada elemen-elemen negatif dan tidak produktif. Ya Allah, Tuhan yang Maha Pemberi kesejahteraan, jadikanlah perhimpunan kami ini perhimpunan yang dirahmati, dan perpisahan kami selepas ini perpisahan yang terpelihara dari segala bencana. Rabbana atina fid dunya hasanah wa fil akhirati hasanah wa qina adzaban nar. Wa sallallahu ala sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa sallam. Walhamdulillahi rabbil alamin.
Thank you, Ustad, for the doa recital. This afternoon, we are privileged to have Cikgu Ahmad Taufik bin Muhammad Tahir with us. Let me introduce him. He's an experienced English teacher with a strong track record in educational, leadership, and assessment. Distinguished roles includes team leader, master trainer for language training, district level English language task force membership, and head of English language panel. He is also a 2021-2022 Chevening Scholars with a Master of Education in TESOL from the University of Glasgow, who strive to leverage the prestigious scholarship for global networking and is committed to enhance English language teaching through collaborative projects locally and globally to drive professional developments among educators. Let us welcome Cikgu Taufik. Hi, Cikgu Taufik. How are you?
Thank you, Is. I'm good. How are you? How is everybody?
Okay, we are fine as well, though with butterflies in our stomach. Okay, today we have three SMK Kinarut students who will go live with us as well and learn from Cikgu Taufik. Could we have our young and energetic Ain, Priscilla, and Daniel? Let's just wait a while for them. Okay, I've seen Daniel. Hi, Daniel.
Hello. Hello, Cikgu Taufik.
Hello,
Okay,
Daniel.
Ain is online. Okay, one more, Priscilla. I think Priscilla, you need to on your camera so that we could see you.
Hello, Ain.
Hello.
Priscilla, on your camera so that we could see you. Otherwise, we could only hear you. Okay. Shall we wait for a while? While waiting for Priscilla, I think I will just share the screen first. Is that okay, Taufik?
Yes, sure.
Okay.
Okay, so while
Taufik,
waiting for the yes.
could you see do you see the screen?
Yes, I
Oh,
can see the screen, but no open yet.
oh no PowerPoint yet. Hold on for a while. Yes, let me check. Sumoribau. Oh,
While waiting, okay, Ain and Daniel. So during my session, I expect us to be very interactive, because I will display a few questions and I will ask for volunteers. So if you don't mind, you can just give me your answer, what you think about the response. Okay? Will that be
Okay.
okay?
Okay.
Okay.
okay. Taufik, should we just start with I and Daniel first while waiting for Priscilla to join later?
Okay, sure. All right.
Okay, then the floor
Okay.
is yours. Okay.
Okay, all right. Thank you so much, Steve. All right, so Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and a very good afternoon to everyone who is watching this session live, whether you are joining us in YouTube, and also good afternoon as well to Ain as well, and also Daniel. Okay, so welcome to my webinar. So in this wonderful afternoon, okay, allow me to share with you several tips of how to answer the listening paper for SPM. Okay, as we all know, next month on January, okay, the session, the test, okay, will be conducted, okay, at the end of January. So hopefully during this school holiday, you are also doing some revision, and hopefully during my session today, you will be able to gain some tips and also beneficial knowledge for your use later on. Huh? Okay. So in this session, okay, is next. Okay, so basically in this session, I'm going to cover only three elements. Okay, the content of my sharing today. Basically, I'm going to share an overview of the the listening format, as well as the general tips on what to do and what to prepare during the before, while, and also after the listening examination. And also, I'm going to share with you what are some of the essential listening skills that you have to develop in order to answer the question properly. Okay, and then after exposing you to some of the essential listening skills, okay, I'm also going to give a few listening exercises for our students here, Ain and Daniel, to try, as well as our audience in YouTube. Okay, you can also share your answers by typing in the comment box. Okay, next. Okay, so before I start, maybe Daniel, okay, what do you understand about CFR, Daniel?
I think it is about English level, English knowledge, something like that.
Okay, okay. What do you understand about the A1 until C2?
It's the
Okay,
level
good.
that we are in.
Okay, how about Ain?
I Daniel.
Okay, same as Daniel. Okay, so it shows that you are really exposed to the CFR knowledge. Okay, so basically all SPM components, especially for especially for English language papers, they are designed by following the CFR framework. This is actually an international framework, okay, whereby all English learners will have levels to study. For instance, we have A1 and A2. These are designed for beginner level, and then B1, B2 mainly focusing on the intermediate level, and then also C1, C2. Those are aimed at tertiary levels. But do you know that for Form 5 students, okay, by the end of Form 5 secondary schools, which level should you get in? Or Priscilla?
I think it's level 4, I think.
Betul. Okay, that is correct. Okay, good. Huh? So basically, when it is expected that when you complete your secondary education, you should be able to score B2 level. Okay, and then when you continue your study in the tertiary level, so the syllabus will hopefully cover the C1 and C2 level. But don't worry. Hopefully, if you follow some of my tips in this webinar, you should be able to score. Should hopefully you should be able to improve your level. Okay, so if you are currently at B2 level, okay, but there are some students who got C1 in SPM level. Okay, all right, moving on. Okay, all right. So as you can see in the slides, okay, we have an average mark. This is nothing official, not released by Lembaga Peperiksaan or the likes. Okay, but this is just an assumption of what mark you should get in order to improve your level. Okay, for instance, you get 1 to 6 marks for okay, your level will be A1. Okay, A2 7 to 12, B1 13 to 17, B2 18 to 23, and if you are able to score 24 above for listening, hopefully you should be able to get C1 lah. Okay, and then I also put the slip, okay, the slip for CFR from one of my students last year. She successfully get an overall C1. Okay, if you see there, reading and use of English, okay, she successfully got C1. Okay, writing got C1, speaking B2, and then listening got C1. So what we can summarize from her result is that she has successfully completed her secondary education by achieving the provisional target, which is B2. But in fact, she exceeds the expectation by getting C1 for 3 skills, which are reading, writing, and also listening. Okay, all right, moving on. So right now, for your listening papers, how about Daniel, Ayan, and then Priscilla? Which level are you currently in?
We haven't got the marks yet.
Okay. But roughly around which area?
I think
B2?
I'm around B1 or B2 level.
Okay. So basically you are on the right track. Okay. So before we start, okay, I will just share with you what are some of the general pre-listening tips for you before you start doing your revision. Okay. So the first one is obviously I keep on emphasizing that listening is always an active session. Okay. This active listening requires your attention for a period of 40 minutes. So if you have any distraction before sitting for your listening, please leave it off. Okay, because active listening requires utmost attention. Okay, so read and listen to the instructions. Okay, and then use the time well to underline keywords, because I'm sure most of you are quite familiar with the format already. Okay, so before you answer section 1, section 2, section 3, and section 4, there will be a certain amount of time provided for you to go through the question. And I noticed that based on my based on my observation with my own students, okay, they didn't utilize the time given in order to highlight the question. Okay. The slides. Okay, so while waiting for the slides, okay, the next tips is understand the context. Okay, especially when you start listening to the audio. Okay, it is important as well to understand the context, whether the speakers, they are giving opinions, whether they are ranting, whether they are sharing information, because in a way it also helps you to establish the purpose of the listening. Okay, and then also, if possible, before you start listening, okay, it is also useful to predict the answer, okay, by going through all the questions. Okay, for instance, like before we start part 1, okay, and then you are given, if I'm not mistaken, 30 seconds to read the question. Try to predict what would be the answer for each question. Okay. Okay, next slide. Okay, now we go to the general while listening tips. Okay, so during the listening session, it is important to understand the main idea. Okay, you don't have to understand every word, okay, every sentence, because it's basically you only have to understand the main idea. Okay, all right, and then when you start listening, okay, try to identify keywords. Okay, once you manage to catch and then detect the keywords, it is also wise to write it down, because like I said, listening is always an active process. So while you are listening and also while you are writing something, most probably your focus will be on point. Okay, and then this is also important, since you are going to be since you are given the chance to listen to the audio twice, it is wise for students, when you first listen to the audio, okay, you have to select the answer. Okay, and then when you listen to the audio for the second time, it is also good to confirm the answer. Okay, so don't make it a habit when you first listen and then you're just waiting for the second one to make a decision. Okay, you have to be strategic. Okay? During the first listen, you have to select the answers, and then during the second listen, you should be able to confirm whether that is the actual answer or not. Okay, and then last but not least, while listening, once you are finished with the question, please move on. Don't think about it yet, because who knew that the next question will be asked on the spot after the question that we have just answered. Okay, so move on to the next question, leave it behind. Okay, all right, moving on to the post listening tips. This is important. Don't leave empty space. Okay, because we all know that the overall question for listening is actually 30 marks, but once it is shrunk to 25%, 1 mark equals 0.83 marks. Okay, so basically, if you leave empty space, if you miss out any questions, you essentially lose 0.83 marks. Okay, so remember, don't leave empty space, and then transfer your answer to the sheets carefully. This is also a mistake that usually students do. You know, like sometimes, even though you are given 6 minutes at the end of the session to transfer your answer to the answer sheet, students often rush in a sense that they mislabel the answer. Okay, it happened to a few of my students in past cohorts. Okay, where question number 1 was answered as question number 2. So everything was answered wrongly. So in SPM, that will be fatal. Okay, you will lose a lot of marks if you are not careful. Okay, and then double check the spelling. This applies to the final part of paper 4. Okay, where you have to write down 10 answers in 10 gap activities, gap text. Okay, so double check the spelling. Okay, so always use the time well to revise your answer before you finally submit the script. And also double check the instruction, because sometimes, you know, in the heat of the moment, when students also when they feel very overconfident, perhaps, you know, like, oh, the listening question was quite easy, and then they forgot to double check the instruction, which leads to them giving more than one word. Because so far, if we notice that from SPM 2021 and 2022, so far, only one word is required for part 4 in listening. But, you know, like sometimes students, when they are overconfident, they tend to put 2 to 3 words in the gap, while knowing that it is actually a one word answer. So after during this stage, post listening tips, okay, don't leave empty space, transfer your answer to the answer sheet carefully, and also double check the spelling and double check your the instruction. Okay, all right, moving on. Okay, now I'm going to share with you what effective listening involves. Okay, what does effective listening involve? So basically, when we're talking about listening, okay, everything involves these 4 skills. Actually, there are many listening skills, but I would like to focus 4 because I noticed that all these 4 skills are being tested in the listening paper. Okay, the first one is making inference, listening for gist, listening for details, and also prediction. Okay, I will cover this as we go on. Okay, next slide. Okay, let's get to know the SPM format first. Okay, as we know, there are 4 parts to the test. Okay, in part 1, okay, which carries 7 marks. Okay, the first part, you are going to hear a series of 7 short, unrelated extracts or exchanges between interacting speakers. Okay, so there will be 3 options for you to answer and 7 questions there, which carry 7 marks. And then in part 2, there will be a monologue lasting 3 to 4 minutes. So basically, you are going to hear a monologue about a certain topic. Okay, maybe a narrative or maybe an experience shared by the speaker, and then you have to answer 8 questions. Okay, so all 8 questions regarding the topic being shared. Okay, And then for part 3, okay, there will be 5 short related monologues of approximately 30 seconds. This one, there will be 5 speakers, okay, but every one of them will be talking about the same topic. And then you only have to mix and match which speaker is saying which statement. Okay, and last but not least, part 4, this part carries the biggest mark, okay, 10 marks, where you will listen to an interview or an exchange between 2 speakers. Basically, so far from the audio and then from the question, for part 4, it's usually an interview session between 2 speakers. Okay, and then there will be 10 gaps, and then you have to fill in so far 1 word for each gap. Okay. Okay. Next. Okay. Now let's move on to part 1. Okay. So Daniel, Priscilla, and Ain, you should be ready, because we are going to conduct a few activities. Okay. So for part 1, okay, like I said, 7 questions. Okay, 7 different situations. Okay, and then you will have 3 options, either A, B, or C, and you have 30 seconds to read. Okay, and then it is an utmost importance, I have to emphasize this time and time again, when you're given the 30 seconds to read the question, please do so. Okay, use the 30 seconds to read question 1 until 7 and underline all the key points in each question. Okay, it's not the time given for you to, wondering, looking back and forth, like left and right, smiling with your friends. No. Okay, the time given is for you to read the question and highlight the keywords. Okay, and then part 1, you will also be able to listen to the audio twice. Okay, next. Okay, so for this part, I would like to highlight 2 listening skills, which is listening for gist and also making inference. Okay, let's get to know what each skill means. Okay, listening for gist. Basically, it's about understanding the general topic of what we hear. You just imagine that you are having a picnic with your friends at the park, okay, and then suddenly you hear your friends talking to another friend about an event that she or he and his family recently celebrated, and then you don't have to listen to all the specific details, but you could tell that based on their conversations, the event was a happy and memorable event because both of them were very maybe or laughing. So basically, that is listening for gist. You only get to listen to the overall, the general topic of what you hear. Okay. All right. Next. Okay. Try this. Okay. Now, Ain, Daniel, and Priscilla, can you answer that? Who are the speakers and why did you say so? Okay, read this. And our audience in YouTube, you can also put in your comments in the comment box. Yeah. Who do you think are the speakers? And can you justify why did you say so? Anyone would like to try?
Can I try?
Okay, sure. Daniel.
The speakers are a teacher and a student. It is because the teacher mentioned something about homework and exams. That's my answer.
Okay. Thank you, Daniel. How about Ain and Priscilla? You agree?
I agree with Daniel.
Okay, good. So maybe this is quite easy because you see the transcript, but this is also another technique that you should practice when you are doing your listening exercise. Okay, if you are struggling to understand maybe the accents of the speakers in the audio, maybe you can train while listening, reading while listening. Okay, maybe at one part you should listen to read the transcript while you are also listening. Okay, and answer the question. Okay. Okay, so for the session, throughout our session, I will also include a few transcripts with the audio in order to aid your comprehension. Okay, so good job, Daniel. So basically, these two are actually a conversation between a teacher and also a student, or maybe in a higher education, maybe this is professor, or maybe like the lecturer and then the student. Okay, why do we say so? Because next slide. Because we rely on the keyword, which is the homework and also examination. So basically, we don't have to understand what's going on, but as long as we know the keyword, and then we can generalize that they are actually teachers and students. Okay, moving on. Okay, now. Okay, so this is a sample for listening quizzes. Okay, the same question, talking about the speakers. Okay, the speakers are probably, is it students, is it teachers, or is it poets? Okay, so I'm going to play you the audio, and then you can try which one is the answer. I will provide the transcript after that. Okay. No audio. Okay, wait, this is what usually happens during a webinar. Okay, since we are doing audio, so please bear with it. Okay, never mind. We'll just check the transcript. Okay. Okay, maybe girl Priscilla, and then boy Daniel, maybe you can read, and then I answer. Okay, Priscilla, next time.
Do you need me to read the text?
Yeah, just read.
Oh, okay. When is the poetry writing competition again?
According to the teacher.
Okay, Daniel.
According to the teacher, the deadline is on the 4th of September.
In that case, we should start working on it.
You are right. We will be busier after this, knowing the mid-year examinations are around the corner.
I will meet you tonight after dinner then.
Okay, thank you. All right, Ain, what's your answer? Quite obvious, kan?
I think it's A, student.
Okay, all right. Let's see whether it's correct. Okay, next slide. Yes, definitely. So they are actually students. So while listening, if you are able to jot down all these keywords, okay, maybe you can write, okay, poetry writing competition, and then teacher, and then all the keywords like deadline, meeting examinations. So while you are listening, it is also useful to highlight, or not highlight, to write down any keywords that you can pay attention to, and then just scribble down on your paper so that it is going to help you to confirm your answer during the second lesson. Okay, that's why you have to train yourself to listen and then also scribble down your paper with all the keywords that you are able to catch. Okay, all right. Okay, maybe we can next slide. Okay, let's try with the audio once again.
You will hear a woman talking about her wedding.
My husband and I were not from a rich background, so we were on a pretty tight budget for our wedding. We had to omit a number of things because of it. I was devastated that I wouldn't have anything to remember the wedding by. Luckily, Patrick was there to save the day. I can't thank him enough for the beautiful pictures he took. We didn't even ask him to, as we knew we couldn't afford it, but he insisted. He was a blessing in disguise.
Now, listen again.
My husband and I were not from a rich background, so we were on a pretty tight budget for our wedding. We had to omit a number of things because of it. I was devastated that I wouldn't have anything to remember the wedding by. Luckily, Patrick was there to save the day. I can't thank him enough for the beautiful pictures he took. We didn't even ask him to, as we knew we couldn't afford it, but he insisted. He was a blessing in disguise.
Okay, thank you. All right. What do you think the answer of what Patrick most probably works as?
I think the answer is C, photographer.
Okay, how about Priscilla and Ain?
I also think it's photographer.
Okay, why do you say
Same
so? Maybe
thing.
you can justify. What keywords that you listened to just now before we look at the transcript? Any particular keyword?
He took beautiful photos.
Okay, good. Okay, Daniel?
He took pictures for the married couple.
Okay, married couple. Okay, you listen to the married. Okay. Priscilla, any keywords that you understand?
Almost the same answer as Ayin, because the woman mentioned that he can't thank Patrick enough for taking beautiful pictures of their wedding.
Okay, good. So basically, you are using the gist, listening for gist by paying attention to the keywords. Okay. All right. Okay, let's look at the answer. Yes. Okay. So that's a good job. Okay, photographer. Okay, so the keywords there, remember the wedding by keyword, the word wedding, and also the beautiful pictures. Itu. Okay. All right. So far so good. Okay. All right. Moving on. Okay. So another listening skill that I would like to highlight is making inference. Okay. So if you see the picture there, we do not accept credit card. So imagine that you are traveling. Okay, once you completed your SPM years, okay, you become a traveler and then you go to Thailand, and then you went into this restaurant in order to have food, and then suddenly when you are, like after you finish ordering and then you wanted to pay, and then you wanted to pay by cards, and then the waiter and the waitress, they couldn't really understand you because they couldn't speak English language, but when you wanted to pay using your card, they was like, no, no, no. They were using all these, like hand gestures, and then it occurred to you that, oh, they do not really accept card or debit cards, okay, but they actually accept cash. So this is what we call as making inference, in which we interpret what we hear using hints and existing knowledge. Okay, all right. This is also another listening skill that is useful in order to answer part one. Okay, next slide. Okay, now let's hear a sample of you making an inference. Okay, let's look at the question first. Okay, her sister is. So basically, the clue there is the sister, and then we have three options: silly, diligent, and attentive. Okay, any words you don't understand here?
What is diligent?
Oh, okay, Daniel. Okay, how about Priscilla? Do you know what diligent is? And I am.
I also wanted to ask the same question.
Okay, never mind. I won't give you the answer right away. Okay. Just listen to the audio first, and then let's see how you arrive to making an inference about her sister. Okay, and also another prediction. Okay, let's use another prediction. Okay. Okay. Prediction is also a good technique. Okay, wait, Ais. Okay, prediction is also a good technique for you to answer the question, because basically the clue here, it doesn't really tell us like what we're going to listen, right? Her sister is. So most probably the conversation must be about what? And okay, all right. So proceed with the audio is.
You will hear a girl talking about her sister. One time, I promised to have dinner with my sister, but I had to leave first as I had some errands to run. On the way to meet her at the restaurant, I realized that I didn't have my phone, and I immediately panicked. I need not have worried. She saw my phone on the couch at home and brought it with her. When she arrived, she gave me my phone, and I immediately checked my text. There was only one, and it was from her. I'm on my way, and I have your phone. Now, listen again. One time, I promised to have dinner with my sister, but I had to leave first as I had some errands to run. On the way to meet her at the restaurant, I realized that I didn't have my phone and I immediately panicked. I need not have worried. She saw my phone on the couch at home and brought it with her. When she arrived, she gave me my phone and I immediately checked my text. There was only one, and it was from her. I'm on my way and I have your phone.
So basically, do you understand what's going on between these two sisters?
Yes.
Yeah, one left her phone, right? And then the other sister brought the phone to her. But once she checked the text, okay, the other sister actually texted her sister. It's quite confusing. But okay, how do you arrive to the answer, Daniel?
What? Can you repeat it? I didn't hear.
Okay, what do you think? What do you think is happening? Is it the sister is silly? Is it she's diligent or she's attentive?
I don't know the two words meaning, but I think she is not silly.
Okay.
Mm,
Oh. How about Priscilla?
I think
I think the answer is C, attentive. Because her
Okay.
sister, yeah.
Because her sister?
Because I think the reason why I choose attentive is because her system seems to be like the type of person who pays attention to her
Okay, good.
surrounding or maybe herself.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
How about Ain?
I also think it's attentive.
Okay. So diligent means very hardworking. So this is a good word. Okay, diligent is a hardworking. So don't use hardworking. It's a tired word. They use diligent. Okay. Let's look at the transcript. So the answer is actually silly. Okay. Why silly? Because yeah. So there was only one, and it was from her. I'm on my way, and I have the phone. So basically, the younger sister texted the sister who left her phone, saying that I'm on my way and I have your phone. So basically, the sister wouldn't be able to read the SMS right at the text because the phone was with the younger sister. Okay. So this is how you develop making inference, huh? But it's a good thing that Priscilla mentioned just now that she was able to justify her answer because yes, the sister is actually attentive, but the truth is, okay, you have to listen from A to Z, okay, because sometimes uh, item builders usually will put the what we call is the surprise element at the end. Okay, just when we thought of like, oh, okay, we found the answer already. But actually, sometimes there will be unexpected turns. Oh, never mind, at the end. And then when you confidently say, oh, this is the answer, you have to pay attention from A to Z. Okay, all right, nice. Okay, now let's practice. Okay, so I wouldn't ask you to justify your answer after this. Okay, but try to answer the question as we go on. Okay, all right. Audio.
You hear a girl talking about watching movies.
I usually enjoy watching my favorite movies and cartoons on weekends. Action movies are good, but I'm not that keen if there's too much violence. I wouldn't waste any time on horror movies either. I'll have trouble sleeping after watching them. I guess I enjoy watching fantasy the most, where there's magical kingdoms and dragons. As for romance, well, I don't really enjoy that.
Now listen again.
I usually enjoy watching my favorite movies and cartoons on weekends. Action movies are good, but I'm not that keen if there's too much violence. I wouldn't waste any time on horror movies either. I'll have trouble sleeping after watching them. I guess I enjoy watching fantasy the most, where there's magical kingdoms and dragons. As for romance, well, I don't really enjoy that.
Okay, so if you are able to apply the note-taking skills, okay, you should be able to identify a few genres, right? Like horror, and then like romance, and then you should be able to come up with your own note-taking skills lah. Usually what I teach my students is that once they understand the keyword, and then they will only have to develop their note-taking skills. Okay, all right, so what do you think is the answer? Is it A, B, or C?
I think it's C
Okay,
because
everyone,
he likes to watch Magical Kingdom.
yeah. So those are the keywords, right? So you listen carefully, and then it's like, I like to use Magical Kingdom. So basically, this is you making an inference that the girl lets her use her imagination. Okay, let's see the answer. Yes. Okay. So if you see the green highlight, I guess I enjoy watching fantasy the most, where there's magical kingdom and dragons. So you notice that the options, it doesn't really say anything about magical kingdom and dragons, right? But you have to make inference by using imagination as the answer. Okay. Next question. Okay, when did the man realize he could turn his job into he could turn his hobby into his job? Okay, so basically, when you look at the question, what is the keyword here? When, and also realize, right? Bila dia sedar, his hobby can be turned into his job. Is it when he was in Africa, when he went traveling all over the world, or when magazines started publishing his work? Okay, all right. So you also can comment in the chat box, huh? Okay, all right. Let's listen to the audio.
You hear a man talking about his occupation.
I always dreamed of sailing the seven seas when I was small. In my 20s, I saved enough money working as a salesman to travel to Africa. While I was there, I took lots of great pictures, and that's what made me think of a career in photography. Since then, I've done lots of exhibitions, and travel magazines have used my pictures to write about holidays and hotels.
Now listen again.
I always dreamed of sailing the seven seas when I was small. In my 20s, I saved enough money working as a salesman to travel to Africa. While I was there, I took lots of great pictures, and that's what made me think of a career in photography. Since then, I've done lots of exhibitions, and travel magazines have used my pictures to write about holidays and hotels.
Okay, what do you think is the answer? Possible answer? The keyword is when, and also realize. When did the man realize he could turn his job and his hobby into his job? Is it when he was in Africa, when he was traveling around the world, or when magazines started publishing his work?
The answer is A, when he was in Africa.
Okay, why? Any keyword that you listen to?
He was taking beautiful pictures while he was there.
While he was there, right? Okay, how about Priscilla and also Ain? Do you agree?
Yes. Yes, I agree with Daniel.
Okay, let's see the keyword. Okay, so correct. The answer is A, because while I was there, I took lots of great pictures, and that's what made me think of a career in photographs. So this is an example of listening for gist. Basically, you don't have to understand the whole thing, but when you realize that the word "while I was there," it implies that when he was in Africa, and that is why when he realized he wanted to become a photographer. Okay, thank you. All right, next. Question here. So now let's look at the keyword. The student loves sport because. So based on this keyword, and the keyword is basically loves sports. So the reason is because. So in the question, in the these factors A, B, or C, the options, okay, these are all addressed in the audio, but you have to decide which one is the reason why the student loves sports. Okay, all right, the audio.
You hear a student talking about the importance of sports.
I love sports. It does take a lot of my time, but it has its benefits. I compete in a lot of sports events and I love meeting new people. When teenagers add sports to their schedule, they are adding a commitment. Since sports have a wide range of benefits, it can be an excellent learning tool for teens, especially in the areas of time management. For me, sports can be such a fun event because I can meet many new people. What we learn as students and athletes can be used later in our lives. I do sports mainly for building friendship.
Now listen again.
I love sports. It does take a lot of my time, but it has its benefits. I compete in a lot of sports events and I love meeting new people. When teenagers add sports to their schedule, they are adding a commitment. Since sports have a wide range of benefits, it can be an excellent learning tool for teens, especially in the areas of time management. For me, sports can be such a fun event because I can meet many new people. What we learn as students and athletes can be used later in our lives. I do sports mainly for building friendship.
Okay. So, anyone would like to answer? Ayin or Priscilla? What's your answer? And Daniel.
I think it's C because she likes to make friends with others.
Okay, good. Okay, do you agree, Daniel and Priscilla?
Yes, I agree with her.
Okay,
Yes.
good. Some of the comments in our chat box also answered C, huh? Okay, 3C. So basically, this is another technique to divert your attention. If you notice that the question is asking about the student, why the reason, what is the reason this particular student loves sports, right? But if you notice at the beginning of the audio, it stated clearly the benefit. You are going to hear the benefits of playing sports. So those are two different things, okay? Basically the benefits and also the reason why students love sports. So the keyword there is actually sociable personality. Okay, because if we look at all the keywords, okay, meeting new people, fun event, I can meet many new people, okay, building friendship, those can be used to imply that the student is actually has sociable personality. Okay, so that's why sometimes you have to pay attention as well. And then you have to use your background knowledge then in order to find the suitable answer. Okay, all right, moving on. Okay, so we have come to the end of part one. So in this part, I would just like to recap two listening skills that we have learned. Okay, the first one is listening for gist. Basically, you don't have to understand the whole thing, but as long as you are able to grasp the main idea, okay, that is also useful to answer for part one. And also for part two, you should be able to make inference, okay, based on your background knowledge. Okay, I will also would like to highlight some of the issues when with this paper. So for question 1 until 7, you only have to blacken only one letter, which is A, B, or C. I've already demonstrated you in this slide. And please don't write anything on the right column. Okay. It is important because the multiple choice question will be marked by the system. Okay, so if you put anything outside, we are just afraid that if you put something else, okay, it will distract the marker and also the computer or the system. Okay, so transfer correctly and then blacken only one letter. Okay. Okay, this is an example of the kertas jawapan objective that you will get. If you look at the left side there's a big space, right? That one is for the sticker that you are going to put later during the session. Okay. Okay, moving on to part 2. Okay, now we should move on to part 2. Okay, there will be 8 questions. Okay, 3 options, just like part 1. You will have to choose between A, B, or C, and then you will be given 1 minute to read the all 8 questions. Okay, so use the time well. I keep on emphasizing when you're given the time to read, okay, go through all the keywords of each question, and then it's going to facilitate you in order to find the reason, the purpose of why you are listening to that particular audio. Okay, and then you also will get to listen twice. Okay, moving on. Okay, so for this section, I would like to teach you about listening for details. So just now we have listening for gist, and then making inference, and then the third listening skill is listening for details. So this is what is being tested in this particular part 2. Okay, moving on. So basically, what is listening for detail? Okay, so imagine that you are waiting for your train. So you will only focus on the train that you're going to board, right? Because you don't want to miss the train. So basically, listening for details, we are interested in a specific kind of information. So how do we get the specific kind of information? From the 1 minute reading that you are given, that's where you have to highlight all the keywords from each question, so that when you finally listen to the audio, you know which detail that you are looking forward to. Okay, next. Okay, let's look at the sample first, listening for details. Okay, let's look at the question, why is the man upset? Okay, so without listening to the audio first, okay, we have to predict why is the man upset. Okay, based on our prediction, we are going to listen to an audio where a man is getting angry. Is it because he saw a snake outside? Is it because there are lots of insects in the house? Is it because there's a small animal in the room? Okay, remember, you only want to know why is the man upset. Okay, audio please.
What's that on the wall? I'm sure I saw something move.
It was probably just a gecko. Yeah, we get lots of them in the house every summer. You're not scared, are you?
Ugh, I hate slimy things like lizards and snakes.
Actually, it is a gecko, and I think it's cute.
Okay, maybe you can
What's
listen
that
one more
on the
time.
wall? I'm sure I saw something move.
It was probably just a gecko. Yeah, we get lots of them in the house every summer. You're not scared, are you?
Ugh, I hate slimy things like lizards and snakes.
Actually, it is a gecko, and I think it's cute.
Okay, what can you interpret from this? Is it A, why is the man upset? Anyone, Priscilla? Or Ain or Daniel?
I think the answer is C.
Okay.
There's a small animal in the room.
Okay, what is the small animal actually?
A gecko, a type of lizard.
Okay, good. Okay, let's look at the answer. Okay, all right. So the answer is C. There's a small animal in the room. So it was probably just a gecko. Okay, so basically the guy is upset because there is a small animal in the room, which is gecko, right? Okay, good. Next sample, let's look at sample 2. Okay. When you look at the question, what will the man do after this conversation? So what will the man do after this conversation? So when you listen to the audio, pay utmost attention after the conversation. What will the man do? Is it wait for a phone call back later, or give his number? Okay. Audio, please.
Hi, this is Brian. Can I speak to Margaret?
I'm sorry, Brian, but she's not here at the moment.
Okay, can you tell her to call me back later?
Sure. I guess she has your number, right?
Yeah, I'm sure she does. Hi, this is Brian. Can I speak to Margaret?
I'm sorry, Brian, but she's not here at the moment.
Okay, can you tell her to call me back later?
Sure. I guess she has your number, right?
Yeah, I'm sure she does.
Are we having Mr. Taufik there?
No.
Okay, Yuma, let's wait. Okay, we're waiting for Mr. Taufik. Which answer do you think that this would be?
A.
A. Wait for phone call. Why A?
Because she's
Okay. Who would like to answer first? Christila.
Pris.
Okay, Pris.
Because the man asked the woman to ask the girl to call him back.
Okay. Daniel, do you agree?
Yes, I do.
Okay. What about Ain? Do you hold different opinion?
No, I agree with Pristella.
Okay, let's go and check the answer.
Hi, this is Brian.
Oh,
Can I speak to Margaret?
I'm sorry, Brian, but she's not.
Okay, she's not here. Okay, can you tell her to call me back later? She has your number, right? Okay, yes. You're waiting for a phone call. Okay.
Sorry, I just got disconnected just now.
Oh, Taufik, I'm glad that
Okay.
you're back.
Okay.
We have
So
two
basically,
answer, and they
Okay.
all got it right.
Okay, all right. So basically, she has your number. Okay, so you have to listen for details, right? Okay, good. All right. Next, moving on to the next slide. Okay, now third sample. Okay, what is the women's problem? Okay, now we want to know what's happening with the woman in the audio. Is it because her flight has been cancelled? Is it because she missed her flight, or the gate of her flight has changed? So basically, we can derive from all these answers. We are going to listen to an airport scene. So let's hear what is the problem faced by the woman.
Excuse me, I'm looking for the flight to Singapore. My boarding pass says gate 14, but I can't see anyone waiting.
Ah, I see. That flight has moved to gate 29.
Oh, I didn't know that.
You should watch the monitors to check. But don't worry, you've still got 30 minutes.
Did you get on the first listen? Okay. Okay, let's look at the answer. Okay, any suggestion?
Do I need to play for the second time, Taufik?
I think it's okay because they are able to get the answer. Okay, what do you think is the answer?
I'm looking for the flight to Singapore. My boarding pass.
Okay. So, Ain, what's your answer?
I think it's C.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, if you see the transcript there, okay, the flight has moved to gate 29. Okay, a few comments there in YouTube also got it right, huh? Yeah, because Fatul said her flight gate has changed. Yeah, definitely. Okay, so this is an example of when you are listening for details. You don't have to pay attention to the rest, but you only have to focus on what is the woman's problem. Okay, good job there. Okay, now we are going to practice. Okay, okay, next slide. Okay, this one is an activity that I did with my Form 5 students. Okay, just because we just to like tap into audiobook because do you know that do you study Captain Nobody?
I don't think they
At
do.
school? Yeah, but just in case, like, I just would like to introduce you to the audiobook because like growing up, this is also another good activity for you to improve your improve your listening. Because there's a audiobook version of Captain Nobody. I bought this on Audible, and then what we did was we select a few chapters from Captain Nobody, and then I come up with the questions mirroring the SPM part 2 questions. Where they have to listen to one short chapter in the Captain Nobody book, and then they will answer the question. So we are trying to emulate part 2 of the SPM paper 4 question. Okay. All right. Next. Okay, but before we listen to the audio, maybe who would like to volunteer to read an extract? Okay, maybe just an extract. Is it Priscilla? Priscilla, do you want to read, or Ain? You want to show off your reading skill? Maybe you have an accent that we don't know of. Yeah. How about Daniel or Ain?
Sure, I will volunteer.
Okay, thank you, Daniel. Okay. So while you read, okay, try to identify. Are you able to see?
Yes.
Okay, good. All right.
Uh-oh,
Okay, you can
this is
start now.
not good. I am failing. I am not going to scream and yell about it, because I am not the kind of kid who makes a lot of noise. But I'd like you to understand how critical my situation is. I, who am normally so terrified of heights that I avoid standing on tiptoe, I am falling a very, very long way. How did this happen? One moment, I was high above the ground, clinging to the rickety wooden ladder that runs up the side of Appleton's last remaining water tower. And in the next blink, my foot snapped through a rotted rung. My feet
Okay.
dropped out from under me and my hands lost their grip. I dropped backward, falling.
The next one.
And I am still going. Funny thing is, I am not really scared. Maybe that will come, but now, with all this time on my hands, I am suddenly aware of a bazillion questions rocketing around inside my skull. Questions like, is the sky always this color? Or does it just look so amazingly blue because I am closer to it? Did any of those firemen and police or the ground see me fall? If they did, will they catch me? If they do not, will it hurt when I land? And if it does, will I have to go to school tomorrow? But before I can answer any of those questions, they all get pushed aside, and my brain flips backward through a blizzard of pictures
Next.
and feelings and smells and moments, and the page flipping stops. Screech! Yeah, I remember now. It was the morning of the big game, the last time everything was okay.
Thank you, Daniel. Okay. All right. So, Daniel, I would like to comment just at the beginning, you have this intonation, but as you move forward, okay, you lose that intonation and then you become this robotic, like zombie in the when you're reading, huh? Okay, that's the reason why I asked you to volunteer because in audiobook you are not going to listen to that kind of speaker. They will be very very like spirited, uplifting, and very very full of emotions. Okay, all right. Okay, next. Okay, and familiar words. What's basically happening in the prologue actually? What's happening to the narrator? He is basically
From what I know, the narrator
okay.
is falling.
Yes, falling from a very high place, right? So when
Yes.
he was falling, suddenly a bazillion questions came into his mind. Like questions like this. Suddenly he was thinking about the blue sky. Suddenly he was thinking if he got hurt, whether he should come to school or not. Okay, and then suddenly at the end of the prologue, we are brought to our attention is brought to a big game. Okay, so if you want to know the what happens in the novel, maybe read it for pleasure because Captain Nobody is no longer asked for in SPM paper. Okay, all right, I'm moving on. Okay, now, okay, I hope you can look at the question. You are going to listen to the audio version of the transcript that you have just read just now. Okay, and then there are 4 questions. Okay, you are going to listen for details. Use your listening for details skill in order to get the answer. What was the protagonist doing just before he started falling? What is the meaning of protagonist?
The main character.
Yes, good. The main character. So for question 1, okay, be careful. You have to pay attention. What was he doing just before he started falling? Is it he was climbing a tree? Is it because he was hanging from a rope? Is it because he was clinging to the ladder? So this type of like prediction, highlighting keywords should be done during the 1 minute time given for you before you listen to the audio. That's why I keep on emphasizing it's very, very important to utilize the 1 minute moment, 1 minute gap. And then question 2, what was the cause of the protagonist fall? What was the reason why the narrator falling down? Is it because he slipped on a banana peel? Is it because a rung on the ladder rotted and broke? You don't understand what is the meaning of rung on the ladder? Okay, a ladder. You know what is a ladder, right? A ladder is something that we use in order to climb up. So the rung is basically what we step on, the foot that we put in order to climb. Macam anak tangga, something like that lah. Okay, so a rung on the ladder rotted, so and then broke. Is it because a strong wind pushed him off? Okay, so I'm going to play the audio and then you try to answer. Is it A, question 1? Is it what's the answer? And then also question B. Okay, listen for details. Okay, is audio.
Prologue. Uh-oh. This is not good. I'm falling. I'm not going to scream and yell about it because I'm not the kind of kid who makes a lot of noise, but I'd like you to understand how critical my situation is. I, who am normally so terrified of heights that I avoid standing on tiptoe, I am falling a very, very long way. How'd this happen? One moment, I was high above the ground, clinging to the rickety wooden ladder that runs up the side of Appleton's last remaining water tower, and in the next blink, my foot snapped through a rotted rung, my feet dropped out from under me, and my hands lost their grip. I dropped backward, falling, falling, falling.
Okay, did you manage to get the answer? Okay, what was the protagonist doing just before he started falling? Did you manage to get any clue? Is it because he was climbing a tree, hanging from a rope, or he was clinging to a ladder? Any words that you listen to the song?
He was clinging to a ladder.
Okay, good. Okay, how about Ayin? Did you hear the same thing?
Yes.
Okay. All right, how about, so the answer for question number 1 is C lah kan?
C.
Okay. Yeah, how about question 2? What was the cause of his fall? Is it because, did you hear anything about banana peel?
No.
Nothing. Yeah, how about, is it a strong wind?
No.
Nothing. Okay, so most probably it is B, right? A rung on the ladder rotted and broke. Okay, is next. Yes, so this is the actual transcript. One moment I was high above the ground, clinging to the rickety wooden ladder. Okay, so that is the answer for question number 1, B. And then also my foot snapped through a rotted rung. Okay, my feet dropped out from under me and my hands lost their grip. So the answer is B. So if you notice, okay, intonation plays an essential role in listening. So imagine kita dengar, okay, the actual audio in SPM, the tone is like Daniel's tone. You know, like awal-awal very excited and suddenly, what was the protagonist doing just before? So it's different, right? Okay, all right, let's listen to the second half. Question 3 and question 4. Okay, I already highlighted the keywords there. Describe the protagonist's feelings as he was falling. Was he scared initially? What is the meaning of initially? Rasa-rasanya, was he scared initially? What is initial?
From the start?
I don't know.
Yes, from the start. Okay, when he started falling, was he feeling scared? Yes, no, he became scared as he fell. Okay, so you have to pay attention. Was he feeling scared initially? Okay, at the beginning. And then what questions started to pop? He started to pop. Basically, there are so many questions running through his mind. What was the first one that started to pop in his mind while he was falling? Is it what's for dinner tonight? Who won the big game, or is the sky always different? Okay, audio please.
And I'm still going. Funny thing is, I'm not really scared. Maybe that'll come, but now, with all this time on my hands, I'm suddenly aware of a bazillion questions rocketing around inside my skull. Questions like, is the sky always this color, or does it just look so amazingly blue because I'm closer to it? Did any of the firemen and police on the ground see me fall? If they did, will they catch me? If they don't, will it hurt when I land? And if it does, will I have to go to school tomorrow? But before I can answer any of those questions, they all get pushed aside, and my brain flips backward through a blizzard of pictures and feelings and smells and moments, and the page flipping stops. Screech! Yeah, I remember now. It was the morning of the big game. The last time everything was okay.
Okay, thank you. Did you manage to get the answer for question 3 and question 4?
Yes.
Okay, good. Okay, what is the answer for question 3?
It's C.
C. He became scared as he fell. Okay. How about Ain and Priscilla? Do you agree with C, question 3? He became scared as he fell?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, how about, okay, question 4? Which question started to pop in his mind? Is it A, B, or C?
I think it's C.
C. Okay, let's look at the answer. Okay. I lifted the transcript. Okay, so the answer is actually B for question 3. No, he was completely calm because he said, funny thing is, I'm not really scared. Okay. All right, and then the first question is actually, is the sky always this color, or does it just look so amazingly blue because I'm closer to it? So the answer is C. So Priscilla got it right. Okay, all right, good job. Okay, next. Okay, so we have come to the end of part 2. I only utilized 4 questions because due to time constraint. But what I would like to highlight here is that it's like part 1. For question 8 until 15, you only have to blacken only one letter, either A, B, or C. And then please don't write anything on the right column. Like I mentioned, okay, if you see there, maklumat calon, all that will be printed. You will get only one copy of that one. So everything will be printed for you. Your IC number, your angka giliran will be there. So all you have to do is just transfer your answer to the correctly. Again, you don't have to write anything on the right column. Okay. All right. So far, okay. Before we move on to part 3. Part 3.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Next, part 3. Okay. Part 3. 5 questions of one topic. Okay. There will be 5 speakers and 5 questions. 7 options. Okay. Labeled as A until G, and then you have to choose 5, answer 5 questions, and then eliminate 2. So basically, the other 2, they are just distractors. Okay, and then you have 30 seconds to read. Okay, in part 2, you have 1 minute, so plenty of time for you to go through the question. But here, since there are only 5 questions, you are given 30 seconds to read and then identify the keywords. Okay, there's no time for you to, like daydreaming, like 30 seconds, nothing. Use the time wisely, and then you get to listen to the audio also twice. Okay, moving on. This is a sample question, okay, where you will be given speaker 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, and then you will have 7 options. So basically, this is the topic is something about shopping. Because if you look about best bargain, buy online cheaper, okay. So what would you think is the keyword for each statement A until G? Always look for the best bargain. Okay, next slide please. Okay, so these are the keywords that you have to highlight during the 30-second gap given to you. Okay, best bargain. Okay, you have to buy online as it's cheaper. Okay, don't let others make your mind up for you. Okay, and then also you have to read D. Ask yourself is if an item is really necessary. Okay. How about E? Be careful not to buy on impulse. What do you know what is buy on impulse? Daniel?
Maybe
What
like
does E?
just buying. I don't really know what it means.
Okay. How about Ayin or and Priscilla? What does E
I
mean?
also don't know what it means.
Okay, Priscilla?
I know the meaning of the word, but I don't know how to explain it.
Okay. All right. So basically, buy on impulse, meaning that you follow your guts to buy things. You know, just like there is a sudden desire that you want to buy things. For instance, when you go to Gmart, then you actually just wanted to buy eggs, but suddenly when you see Maggie there, there's then you just buy it on the spot. That is buy on impulse. Okay. And then F, get the best deal from the salesperson. And also G, don't fall for marketing tricks. So these are the keywords that you have to put in mind because we are going to listen to the audio. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, so one tip that I would like to highlight for you in this section, okay, section 5, is that pay attention to the synonyms because the speaker usually is saying the same thing in a different way. So basically, the options A, B, C, D, E, F, G, they have been summarized. This is the summary of what the speaker are or the speakers are saying. So you have to pay attention to the synonyms because this part is actually testing you your ability to recognize similar meaning. Okay, that's why I put the synonyms saying the same thing in a different way. So you already have the summary of what is being said in A until G. So you have to mix and match which speaker is saying which summary. Okay, all right. Let's listen carefully. The audio, please.
Speaker 1. Before I buy something, I look at the advantages and disadvantages of buying it. I ask myself why I need it, where I'll put it, and what it's for. If I can't give definite answers to these questions, I may want it, but will probably decide I don't need it.
Okay, which one? Yeah, I only purposely just put one time. Okay. Did you get during the first listen? Okay. So which one is relevant to the first speaker? Is it anything to do with best bargain, buying online, don't let make up, or how? Okay, let's look at the transcript. Yes, the answer is actually D. Ask yourself if an item is really necessary. Because if you listen just now, I asked myself why I need it, where I'll put it, and what it's for. And then the speaker goes on to conclude that I may want it, but will probably decide I don't need it. So it's a idea of whether you want it or you need it. So it corresponds to statement D. Ask yourself if an item is really necessary. Okay, all right, moving on to the next part.
Taufik, I think we get an audience who answer this correctly. Mindra.
Oh, yeah, I mean, oh, yeah, yeah. I didn't see
She
this.
chose
Okay,
to.
thank you.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, next.
Okay, next. Okay, so another tip is that once you finally get the answer for the first one, okay, you just right away strip it off. Okay, don't look at it again. That's why I did I put symbols there for you. Okay, let's listen the second question.
Speaker 2. At supermarkets, there are always people trying to sell you things. I normally compare prices of different brands to get the best deal. Sometimes I use vouchers that I find on the internet or in newspapers. I like to go online to know who is offering the lowest price.
Okay, maybe one more time. Yes.
Okay.
Speaker 2. At supermarkets, there are always people trying to sell you things. I normally compare prices of different brands to get the best deal. Sometimes, I use vouchers that I find on the internet or in newspapers. I like to go online to know who is offering the lowest price.
Okay, so if we look at the keywords, okay, compare prices, going online, vouchers, lowest prices. Okay, those are some of the things, the keywords being mentioned. Okay, will you able to arrive to a conclusion whether it's A, B, C, or E, F, G?
Yes.
What do you think is the answer?
I think
Ain?
it's B. I think it's B.
Okay, good. Daniel? Daniel?
I think it's A.
It's A. Always look for the best bargain. Okay. All right. So a comment here also, who shy says B. Okay, let's look at the transcript. The answer is actually A. Look for the best bargain. Okay. If you really look at the questions, okay, I normally compare prices of different brands to get the best deal. Okay. And then okay, why B is wrong? Buy online, because you see, I use vouchers that I find on the internet or in newspaper. So it doesn't really say something about buying online, right? And then I like to go online to know who is offering the lowest price. So, you know, like these kind of things, it is always tricky because pay attention to the word best bargain. Best bargain means who offers the lowest price in order to save money. So that's why it is important to highlight the keywords in order to get the best answer. Okay. All right. So 0 for Ain and 0 for Priscilla. Okay, 1 mark for Daniel. Okay, moving on.
Speaker 3. At the supermarket, I only buy what I've planned to get. This means that I won't be tempted to add some ice cream even if it looks really good. It doesn't matter how good it looks. If you haven't planned to buy it, don't put it in your basket.
One more time.
Speaker 3. At the supermarket, I only buy what I've planned to get. This means that I won't be tempted to add some ice cream even if it looks really good. It doesn't matter how good it looks. If you haven't planned to buy it, don't put it in your basket.
Okay. Is it B, C, E, F, G? Priscilla?
I think it's E.
It's E, okay. How about Daniel?
I think it is E too.
E. Priscilla?
I think it's E too.
E. So our audience answers C, and there's another one answer E. Okay, so remember buying on impulse meaning that you just buy without second thinking. Okay, you just okay. So I only buy what I plan to get. So the idea is that the speaker, once he gets to the supermarket, he only buys what he planned to get. So basically, E is the answer. Be careful not to buy on impulse. Okay, Mindra also got it correct. Okay, next question 4.
Speaker 4. Most of the time, especially when there's a sale, it's easy to buy things just because they're on sale. We find ourselves attracted to these discounts and end up buying things that we don't really need.
One more time.
Okay, one more time.
Speaker 4. Most of the time, especially when there's a sale, it's easy to buy things just because they're on sale. We find ourselves attracted to these discounts and end up buying things that we don't really need.
Okay, some of the keywords being mentioned are on sale, discounts. So basically, those are what synonyms for? Is it DC or FG?
I think it's G.
G.
I think it is G too.
G2. Priscilla?
Same.
Same. Okay. So yes, our audience also mostly answered G. Okay. So the answer is definitely the G. Okay. When there's a sale, it's easy to buy things just because they're on sale, attracted to this discount. So basically, when you finally identify all those keywords, you will come to the conclusion that G is the answer. Okay. So I hope it's easier for you to, like when you already cancel option A, option D, option E, it helps you to zoom on the part that you haven't answered yet. So this is also what you have to do lah. Once you already answered the previous question, immediately strike it so that you will not be distracted by it. Okay. All right. Next. And then last question.
5. When I'm thinking about buying something and I'm in the shop trying to consider my options, I always avoid the sales assistants. Their job is to persuade you to buy the product. Be a smart shopper and try not to let other people stop you from making your own choices.
Okay, one more time.
Speaker 5. When I'm thinking about buying something and I'm in the shop trying to consider my options, I always avoid the sales assistants. Their job is to persuade you to buy the product. Be a smart shopper and try not to let other people stop you from making your own choices.
Okay. So we have sales assistants, making choices. Okay. So what do you think is the answer? Priscilla, Ayin, and Daniel.
I think the answer is C.
C.
Same.
Same goes for
Daniel?
me.
Okay. Any keywords that you listened to just now?
Don't.
Okay, don't remember. Don't recall. Okay. Okay. Yes, the answer is actually C. Okay, good. So a lot of our audience also got this correct. So if you notice F, okay, it is trying to divert your attention by adding salesperson. So students who are not careful, they will arrive at the conclusion that, he or she listened to the word sales assistant just now, and then suddenly there's another word in the distractor, salesperson. But if you really look and understand, get the best deal from the salesperson, it's not basically the same with trying to avoid the salesperson. So this is the kind of distractor that is trying to divert your attention to the actual answer. So the answer is C. So good job. Yeah. Okay. All right. Next slide is. Okay. So that was the short one for part 5. But basically, even though it's the shortest one, but most students struggle for that one lah, because you have to train your mind in order to synonyms, saying the same thing in different way. Okay. All right. So question 16 to 20, as usual, you only have to blacken one letter, but this one, the options includes all the way until G because there are 7 options, but you only have to blacken one. Okay. And then don't write anything on the right column because this will be automatically graded by the computer. So transfer your answer on the answer sheet carefully because the remaining for part 4, it will only be marked by the examiner. Okay. All right. Moving on to the final section, part 4. Okay. So part 4, okay, 10 questions. There will be 10 questions, and obviously there will be 10 gap text. Okay. But so far, I caution you, so far from 2021 and 2022, okay, candidates are only asked to write no more than one word. So basically, we expect you to only write one word, okay? And then you will have 1 minute to read the whole text, okay? And then you get to listen to the audio twice. Okay, so since there will be like a few paragraphs for this part, you have to pay attention to the keywords before and after the gap. Okay, because you only have 1 minute to read. So if you will not be able to like apply all these skills, but by basically reading in 1 minute. So I would like to suggest another tips, okay, tips and tricks Okay, moving on to the next slide. Prediction. Yes, basically prediction works well for part 4. Okay, what is the definition of prediction? Basically, it helps us anticipate the kind of information we will hear. Okay, so moving on. Okay, this is a text that I've extracted from the buku format SPM. The title, okay, let's look at the title, Short Film Competition. The title is quite important because it sets the tone. So all the vocabularies related to short film competition will be asked and will be there. Okay, I hope you are able to see that. Okay, but we are going to predict what is the possible answer for each question, 21 until 30. Okay, let's do the prediction. Okay, if you have any other prediction, just let me know. Maybe in the chat box or our students, you can just unmute yourself and then share your prediction. Okay, is next. Okay, so question 1. Okay, the topic is short film competition. Let's predict. She found out about the competition on ... and tried her luck. So the context is we are looking, probably the answer must be some sort of source of information. Okay, usually when you want to find a competition, where would you go to? Where can you find the sources? Let's predict.
Internet.
Okay, good. Internet. Other than internet? Yes, interactive social media, poster. Okay. Any other? So basically, once you are able to predict this type of question, so once you get to listen to the audio, you can confirm whether your prediction is true or not. Okay, let's list down what are some of the possible answers. Okay, next. Yes, social media, a website, a friend's recommendation. These are the type of answers that are possible in question 1. But okay, you see, for social media and also friend recommendation, this is most probably unlikely because it is more than one word. So always bear in mind for this part, so far, the question will only ask one word answer. Okay. All right. How about question 2? Let's predict. There was a lot more to making a film compared to filming people or staging a dash, but her experience in both helped her. So when we read this text, immediately the context or the category that is perhaps possible for question 2 is film genre or style. But if we pay attention to the word staging, usually in a competition, what do you stage? Do you stage a film? Apa yang boleh dipentaskan, pementasan?
A presentation.
Yes, a presentation. Lagi? Let's just brainstorm. What are some of the things that can be staged? Yang boleh dibuat pementasan. Other than presentation?
A type of a dance.
Yeah, dance. Okay, staging a dance. Or maybe a drama. Yeah, okay, a drama. Okay, let's look at some of the predictions. Okay, theater production, it is possible. Documentary can, action scene also can, staging an action scene. But you see, action scene is not a possible answer because the word that's why I thought you also have to pay attention to the word before and after the gap because it will help you to predict the possible answer. Okay, for question 3. Okay. Money was a problem, but not as big as getting the crew together. Remember, this is a short film competition. Basically, when you want to record or participate in short film competition, you will be working with a lot of people, right? So the keyword is crew. So maybe we are looking for a job position. What crew? Okay, is next. Okay, maybe crew captains, maybe crew members, or maybe crew personnel. Okay, so when you later listen to the audio, so you try to identify. For question 3, maybe the answer is something to do with crew captain, or something to do with job position. Okay, all right. Moving on to question 4. The film had a limited number of Okay, so we are talking about film elements. So this is why you have to pay attention to the topics because the topic sets everything related to the question. So what are some of yes? Okay, like Mindra said, a limited number of seats. Okay, what else that we can put here that we can predict? The film had a limited number of roles, maybe limited number of budgets, a limited number of shootings. Okay, so these are some of the things that you should consider when you are doing your prediction. Okay, moving on to question 5. Okay. Now, the context is pre-production. Most of the work was in preparing and casting. Okay, we know casting is the process where we will find the actor and actresses, right? So these are what we call as pre-production. So what are some of the things that you have to do before you start directing the film? Okay. What are some of the things that you have to prepare other than casting? Yes. Okay, Mindra, script. How about Daniel? What are some of the things other than yes? Screenplay. Okay, maybe you will prepare the locations, where to shoot, okay, which scene, okay, what are some of the props that you're going to use. So like by predicting all these type of answers, you are going to at least expect the answers for individual question being asked. Okay, next. Okay, the characters of the were the hardest to cast. Okay, now we are moving on to the casting. So there will be a lot of characters. So it's quite easy for this question because we are looking for the type of characters. So maybe if you have ever acted or if you have ever seen any movies or dramas, okay, what are some of the characters that we can put here in question 6? Okay. Okay, Daniel, Ain? Just randomly pick any character.
Minions.
Characters of the Minions. Like characters of, yes, like Mindra said, villain, hero. Okay, maybe the protagonist just now, the antagonist, right? Okay, let's look at the antagonist, the extras. Okay, or maybe if we are specifically looking at the role, okay, but we wouldn't have any idea because the topic given is just basically a very general one, short film competition. Okay, question 7. Okay, her parents too allowed her to use their, which helped a lot. So the context here is that the person get help. The person gets help from her parents. So maybe in what way does the parent contribute to her? In the form of maybe some sort of resources or maybe equipment. Okay, what are the things that your parents usually will allow you to use when you are doing a short film competition?
Camera.
Yes, camera. Okay, other than camera?
Microphone.
Okay, good. Microphone. Okay. What else? Ain and Priscilla? If you want to participate in a film competition and then your parents allowed you to use their what? What are the examples of things that they will allow you to use?
Laptop.
Come again?
Laptop.
Yes, laptop. Okay. How about car?
Studio.
Will they allow you to use car?
Car also can.
Right, car, studio, right? Okay, let's see at some of the examples. Yes, camera, yes, house, maybe the garage, like resources or equipment. Okay, all right, question N. Okay, now we're moving on to post-production. If we have pre-production just now, post-production entails what we do after we finally finish shooting. Okay, so post-production work was not easy as the was difficult. So what are some of the process behind after the recording? Okay, let's say you have just recorded a video and then you want to upload to YouTube. What will you have to do? Will you upload it right away or do you want to do something with the video? So what is the process being called as?
Editing.
Editing.
Yes, editing. Okay, other than editing, we are talking about film competition, right? Only editing? say if like your video is in Mandarin language, and then you want to show it to the international, what will you have to include?
So subtitle.
Subtitle.
Yes, like like those are some of the things that you have to do in post production, right? Okay, let's see at some of the things. Okay, editing, lighting, sound. Okay, all these kind of predictions you can put here in question 8. Okay, question 9. Okay. Abby had a great time as everyone put in their best in the making of the movie. So the idea is contribution. So when you feel good in participating in film competition because of everyone's what?
Effort.
Effort. Yeah.
Act.
Okay, act. Okay, contribution maybe, right? Okay, let's look at the sample answer. Creativity, effort, skill. Okay, so these are some of the things that you have to listen later. Okay, finally, question 10. Okay, her movie has also made it to the next stage of and will represent Malaysia. Okay, so basically the next stage, the keyword is the next stage of what? So we are talking about progression in competition. Okay, let's look at the ideas. Next stage of what? Next stage of judging maybe, next stage of selection, next stage of competition. So these are some elements of progression in competition. So after you do all this, you have to predict in 1 minute when you are reading the text. So like you have to be aware of the time constraint. Okay, all right. So all you have to do is just predict by looking at the gap and the words before and after the gap. Okay. Now let's listen to the audio, and then if you are able to answer some, okay, let's see. Yeah. Okay.
Are you crazy about movies? Have you ever dreamt of making your own movie, but believe you can't? Do we have a treat for you today? With us here on our podcast is Abinaya, or Abby for short. She has just won the Malaysia Spielberg Award for Amateur Filmmakers held by MCU Institute of Art. Welcome to the show, Abby. It's great to have you.
Thanks, RJ. It's great to be here.
So tell me, how did you hear about this contest and what made you enter?
Well, I actually remember hearing about it on radio one day and immediately decided to try my luck. I've always enjoyed filming people and even directed a school play once, but nothing prepared me for what was to come. If I knew what I know now, I wouldn't have started. And I guess that is lucky because there is nothing like completing a movie. I'm actually looking forward to my next venture.
Oh, really? Maybe you could talk us through it? What was the most challenging part of making this movie?
I would like to say finances, but that was only because it was almost a one-man show when I started. So I think the hardest of all was getting the team together. Funding comes a close second, but because crew members took no payment, that wasn't much of an issue till later.
That's intriguing. Yes, a film definitely needs a crew. Since it was amateur, couldn't you just ask your friends and family?
It sounds easy if you look at it that way, but it definitely isn't the case. Even though no one had to be professionals, we definitely need a certain skill set to even begin. Almost everyone wanted to act in it, but my film didn't have that many roles, and most of the work was actually pre-production and even post-production, and therein lay my problem.
What does pre-production work consist of?
Well, pre-production is all the prep work we do before filming the movie. This includes script, dialogues, casting, props, and the scenes. The script and dialogues were the easiest, as I had already written a short play for school, but hadn't used it. However, the props took a longer time. Casting was a little scary too, as so many volunteered, but they were not all suited to the roles. My film was about a family, and I had difficulty casting the parents. We didn't have an extensive budget for makeup, and that was another problem.
Makeup?
Yes, we didn't have the budget for a professional, but But thank God a teacher and a family friend offered to act. I mean, the roles were pretty grey, so I'm glad they trusted me to portray them as such. We used simple props, and my parents allowed me to use our house, so we didn't have to worry about the location. Was filming a breeze then? Well, not really, but since I had been in school plays before, it came naturally. It was editing that was hard. Oh, was it because of all the different tools you needed? Not at all. The problem was picking the scenes to make the cut. Everyone did an awesome job, though the script was supposed to be the hero. Each actor gave it their all. This win is not because of me. It was a team effort, and I would do it all again. Glad to hear. Thanks, Abby, and good luck for the next stage of competitions. I have just watched your film, and I am sure you will make Malaysia proud in the Asian Film Festival. For listeners who want to show some support, please log on to mcu.filmasia to watch and like her movie, Sunday Brunch.
If can you pause the audio first?
Again. Oh, okay.
Okay, are you able to get some of the answers? Daniel, Ain, and Priscilla? Okay, I think maybe we can just skip the second listening. Okay, next to the next slide.
Are you crazy?
Before that, okay. Sorry, Is, before that, can you move to, okay. Another tips that I would like to highlight is that, okay, if you notice in the audio, the speaker is using the active voice. Okay, but in the text that you get here, it is written in the passive voice. So you have to train yourself the difference between active and passive voice. For instance, like I feed the cat. Okay, that is an active voice, meaning that I was the one who is doing the work. But in this transcript, in this this part, the tendency is to use the passive voice. For instance, the cat was fed by me. So whatever that you listen to originally, sometimes it will be rephrased, and it is the structure will be put at the back as the main order. So it's quite difficult for me to explain here, but if you're able to Google and then practice more on a passive, active voice and passive voice, it is going to definitely help you to find the exact answer. Okay, if you notice here, this is an example of passive voice. This one, the question 26. The characters of the ... were the hardest to cast. So basically, that is the passive voice, but if you turn it to the active voice, the cast were the hardest to the character. How to change it into active voice. But like I said, the techniques of answering this is your ability to identify the active voice and also the passive voice. Okay, so after this session, maybe you should Google more about active voice and passive voice. Okay, all right. Let's move on to the next slide. Okay, so let's look at our prediction whether it values or not. Okay, I just updated. All right, so the first one, source of information, the answer is actually radio. Did you get it right?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, a film genre or style, but basically the answer is play. Play is another word for drama. It's staging a play, meaning that staging a drama. And then our prediction just now is a job position, crew. Crew what? Is it crew members? The answer is crew members. Okay, 24 film elements, okay, roles. Okay, and then pre-production, the answer is prompt. Okay, next. Okay, type of characters. Okay, so it happens to be the parents. Okay, the equipment provided by the parents, actually the house. Okay, the post-production, the editing. So we mentioned something about editing just now. And then Daniel also mentioned about the effort. Okay, everyone's contribution in the form of effort. And then the movie has progressed into what stage of it is progression of competition. It's actually the word competition itself. Okay, all right, next please. Okay, just reveal the answer all until 30. You have to multiple click that. Yeah. Okay. Okay, so if you look here, okay, this is how you should transfer your answer for question 21 until 30. Make sure you don't have to write anything on the objective part, but you have to be careful. You have to carefully transfer all your answer to question 21 to 30. Okay, right on the right column. Okay, usually it's one word so far for 2021, 2022. The answer should be one word, and the spelling must be accurate. Okay, so we do not really. So I'm not sure. So far, we haven't had issue. There's no issue with American spelling versus UK spelling because it hasn't been asked so far. But don't pay attention to the variety lah. Okay, but as long as you are able to spell correctly, we will award mark right away. So we will markers usually will not be able to tolerate any spelling errors. And then obviously you have to focus on before and after the gap. And if you notice here, the plural forms is always favored. Okay, like members, roles, props, parents. Okay, and there are 4 answers with plural forms there. So you also have to be very, very attentive while you are listening, whether it is in the form of singular form or plural form. And then sometimes, okay, past tense can also be asked, irregular verb. Okay, for instance, like not the one ending with ed, but the ones changing from present tense to past tense. Okay, those are also good candidates to be good candidates of answers that will be asked in part 4. Okay. All right. So far, did you manage to get anything correct just now? David, Ain, and Priscilla?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, because we do not really want to focus too long on that part. Okay, because it's already 4:56, right? Okay, so with that, I have come to the end of my slides. Okay, next slide. Okay, thank you so much. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Taufik. Okay, let me unshare first. Okay. Okay, do we have any questions so far from our audience? Okay, thank you for all your attention thus far. We have now reached an exciting part, which is we are going into our Q&A session. Is there any questions that you want to ask Cikgu Taufik? I think let's wait for like maybe like a few seconds.
So basically, what I'm trying to focus on, emphasize here is that for listening, you have to be attentive at all times. So get plenty of rest before the actual day, because you will have to focus your attention only for 40 minutes. Okay, whatever happens during the assessment, you have to focus your 40 minutes towards the question paper. Nothing else should take over your attention during that 40 period. After that, if you want to scream, you want to like, okay, do it. Okay, but during the listening, all ears, okay, and then focus on the question paper.
And actually, Taufik, listening paper is the one that will actually help students a lot, right?
Yes, true. Because students usually focus too much on writing, but they fail to understand that for writing, even though the marks are quite big, 60 marks, but everything will be shrinked to 25 percentage, right? So if we logically, listening paper 30 marks, so 30 marks, okay, when we downsize it to 25%, that's why I said 1 mark equals to 0.83. But in comparison to writing, okay, let's say you lose 4 marks, but in actually you only lose 1 mark. Okay, so people have this misconception that writing is the most important paper, but actually, in fact, all papers are important. But if we look at the percentage, okay, speaking is the highest mark because it is the only paper that is being enlarged from 24. We converted it into 25 percentage. And then listening only has 30 questions, but we downsize it. We shrink the percentage to 25. So basically, each question equals to 0.83 marks. And then followed by reading and then writing. Okay?
Okay, thank you, Taufik. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, attendance link has been shared in the chat box. The link is only valid until 12 midnight tonight. Kindly fill in why it is valid. The committee holds no responsibility for your led action. Now, as an appreciation to our speaker, Mr. Taufik, we would like to present him an e-certificate for his dedication in sharing his knowledge. Okay, Taufik, thanks a lot. Let's wait. Okay, we are almost reaching the end, but before that, Taufik, we have a question from our audience. Mindra, sir, does the speaker in the audio will use British accent or it would be in Malaysian's accent?
I wouldn't say British accent, but so far, based on the previous 2 years, it will definitely use local accent. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Local accent, local Malaysian accent.
Local Malaysian accent. Okay,
Yeah.
I guess there's no more question. So we are reaching the end. Please don't forget to fill in your attendance. And we have shared the link in the chat box. To our participant, your active engagement enthusiasm have made this event vibrant and memorable. Your presence here signifies a commitment to excel in your SPM English listening paper, and for that, we're deeply grateful. We pray the best for you. A special note of appreciation goes to the dedicated committee members who have worked tirelessly behind the scenes to ensure the smooth flow of today's event. Before ending the webinar, I would like to invite all our committee members to join us in the live. And also thank you to our three young students.
Definitely.
I know you must be very nervous to join us as well, but we thank you. Let's take a photo. How many else? Cikgu Irene is not joining us, is it? Cikgu Arni? Okay. So smile. Smile. Okay. Done the picture? Bye-bye. Thank you, everyone. By the way, we are still having 2 sessions tomorrow. Morning 9:30, we'll be having the sessions on the writing paper with Mr. Taufik. Then in the afternoon 2:30, we are having the sessions on sessions on reading paper with Cikgu Lily. So we will see you tomorrow. Do join us tomorrow. Thank you and bye-bye, everyone.
Thank you. Bye, everybody.